I think that the new illusion type might be one of the new best additions to the game and could actually help new players get into the game more. So for those who don't know, there are 4 new cards in Duelist Nexus that are actually a different type to every other card in the game, the brand new illusion type. These cards are Nightmare Magician, Mirror Sword Knight, Cornfield Kotal, and Chimera the Illusion Beast. All these cards, apart from Nightmare Magician, center around Chimera Fusion and the brand new Baphomet and Gazelle support. Chimera Fusion acts as a way to fuse the brand new Baphomet monster, which can search 2 cards on normal or special summon, and the new Gazelle monster into the new Chimera the King of Phantom Beasts, who, from there, is an interruption by sending a random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard during the end phase, and can reborn a Beast Fiend or Illusion monster in the graveyard. This can also be used to reset Chimera Fusion and make the brand new Fusion boss, which has already been mentioned. The reason I think that this archetype is incredibly cool is because it can almost act as a way to combine all of Yu-Gi's old archetypes. Most casual fans are also a fan of the anime. Now, not all casual fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are, but some of them do enjoy the anime a lot and play a lot of anime decks. The big problem with Yugi's deck is none of his archetypes really work together. They all are kind of separate, such as you could, in theory, combine Buster Blader with Dark Magician, but it wouldn't really have any consistency. It could pull off some really, really powerful end boards, but it could also just do nothing and completely brick on normal monsters or big level 7s, which is useless. The reason that illusionists could help with that is they could almost act as a glue, for Yugi's archetypes, which allows you to, in theory, play multiple of them together. Now, Yugi's old cards, most of them have been reprinted, such as the Magnet Warriors, obviously, the King of Mythical Beast stuff has just been reprinted, Dark Magician gets support basically every month at this point, Buster Blader has gotten its own archetype. Most of Yugi's cards have at least their own archetype now. But it does feel a little odd that they haven't ever tried to combine nearly all of them together into one consistent theme. Now, that's obviously very hard, considering you have to deal in this case with a fusion lock due to the new Chimera cards. Dark Magician is kind of its own thing, and you need Dark Magician in the deck for it to be fully functioning, and usually adding it to your hand. Buster Blader requires, the Destruction Whelp cards, which are its own really powerful form of, recursion, but it means that there isn't really a good normal summon if you can combine all these archetypes, and Magnet Warriors just kind of do their own thing, which is pretty decent usually, but not good enough. The new illusion stuff, however, could allow Yugi's cards to be reprinted and still work with each other without seeming just like really pushed anime support. It could feel like a more subtle deck, such as how the Chimera stuff is being played and branded right now as an option, because it allows you to set up a targeting negate for a monster on field, targeting protection, and rip a card out of your opponent's hand turn 1, as well as putting another dark on your field, which is good for fusion summoning. This is pretty good, as it means that new players could actually build a Yugi deck in style and play the game still. And maybe even, I don't know, do well at locals or something and help them to transition to maybe playing more meta decks or trying out different things. It could easily act as a way to teach players the game in a sense, where they could start off with the classic Yugi cards and kind of slowly upgrade to the newer stuff, slowly learning the game's mechanics more and more. Now, obviously, there's the new structured style product, the 2-player thing with Zeus and Primeheart on it. That is probably going to be a decent way of learning Yu-Gi-Oh! But the issue is, Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have its own tutorial in sense. Even on Master Duel, the solo modes are kind of terrible with that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very difficult to learn as a game. You need to kind of keep playing and generally keep learning the rules as much as possible. There isn't really like a good lesson area. Everything's kind of thrown at you at once, unless you specifically go at it kind of blocking out a lot of stuff about the game, which is hard to isolate. But the new Yugi cards are maybe going to help with that. I mean, obviously, they could just make it purely Gazelle and Mythical Beast support, which would equally be cool, because I think that Illusionist is an interesting type where they could do a lot of things with it, as it's basically just Spellcaster, but mysterious. However, I guess in a sense, it would be cool to have a clear tutorial archetype. Something which, if someone, I don't know, watched the original show because they were interested in it, which is ironically how I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Then I played ABC. Someone could watch the anime and pick up the original anime cards and then learn about the new kind of anime cards, the retrains, the illusionist stuff, and use them. And then, I don't know, play it. If we look at, I don't know, some random old Yu-Gi cards that could in theory work with this and, you know, be cool, we could obviously do other things from Battle City. Like, Magnet Warriors have already been reprinted. The Jack Knight stuff and the face cards have already been made into their own archetype. But there could be cards to kind of, like, combine them in a weird way. It wouldn't be very good, but it would be very funny. And I don't know, if someone wanted to, they could. That would be nice. It could even combine with the Egyptian god stuff, to where, I don't know, they searched, I don't know, Slifer the Sky Dragon or something, or let you add a Divine Beast, or made it so Divine Beasts were unaffected, or basically just made it so if someone wanted to play a Yugi deck, it could be kind of consistent. Now, I'm not fully pushing that anime decks should be the best deck, because if they were, it would be annoying if just Blue Eyes and Dark Magician were the best decks, and those cards didn't have reprints, or retrains, I mean. Like, hell, I think Dark Magician itself should get a retrain effect monster that's always treated as Dark Magician and a normal monster. Like, that's what the deck kind of really needs to be good. Just an easy to summon Dark Magician that actually does something rather than just sit there and be unaffected. But it kind of just would be cool to see, like, a bunch of other Yugi cards be reprinted and made actually decent and in its own thing that still kind of supports the original stuff. Because the Chimera stuff does. It wants you to fuse Berthelmat and Gazelle into Chimera, the flying mythical beast. Well, the retrain version of it, even. But it's interesting, and I think that if it's done correctly, it could be made into just a really, really cool new deck. Now, obviously, it's probably just going to be its own thing. A Nightmare Magician kind of proves that, because Nightmare Magician is just its own card, and it's like, I think, the de facto illusionist boss, despite being kind of meh. So who knows, maybe they'll make a Nightmare Magician archetype, which, that would be cool. Anyway, I don't mind if they don't do this. I'm not the biggest fan of Yugi stuff myself. Like, I think it's cool, but just, like I aforementioned, my first ever structure deck was ABC, so I don't know what that says. But still, it would be nice for new players to have a really easy way to get into the game and kind of a go-to de facto deck, so long as they keep the cards low rarity. Which they probably won't, but still, you know, maybe turn this into an illusionist structure deck. That seems like a good starting product. Anyway, this video was a huge rant because I saw the new illusionist stuff. I think it's cool. I'd maybe like to play it in future. I don't know. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. If you enjoyed, subscribe, I guess. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.